Congratulations, sister. Well deserved.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Father, and everyone. We're coming together on December the 2nd, today, which is the anniversary of the church women who were martyred in El Salvador 42 years ago. Maura, Ita, Dorothy, and Jean. And they joined St. Oscar Romero and so many others, countless ones, in El Salvador and Guatemala who were murdered. Many were labor union organizers and catechists, as well as elderly and children. And this award reminds me that as long as I have breath, I can't give up. None of us can. I thank the Labor Guild and the board, the nominating committee, those who nominated me. And also I'm thinking of the ones who keep me going, especially the folks at the Labor Resource Center at UMass Boston, the South Asia Workers Center, the Wild Women of Wild, my own congregation, Sister Charity of Nazareth, my parish, and the folks here who keep me grounded in faith and action at St. Catherine Drexel. I'm really saddened that many young people aren't aware of the legacy of the church as far as Catholic social justice, of us being on the picket lines. And one of the things I was thinking as I was preparing, the prophet Isaiah says, "Seek the peace and the prosperity of the city to which you have been exiled or to which you have been sent. Pray to God for it, for if it prospers, you too will prosper." And that's the thing we need to remember. Where are we located? Where are we watching this presentation tonight? Maybe you're on your couch. Maybe you're with some friends. Maybe some of you might even be on a picket line somewhere. But how do we, older folks, have the backs of Gen X, of the Gen Z, the millennium? We put labels on one another, but whatever these younger folks call themselves, so many are really interested and want action. They're about social justice, carrying the church and our world forward, whether it's climate change or the intersectionality with workers' rights, with immigration, so many things. We spoke about what happened 42 years ago. And we had people crossing the borders. In fact, one of the things I pulled out was Sister Caroline Messina and I, when we were the farm workers in Texas on the border. And on the anniversary, it was like the third anniversary, right before that, one of the trailers carrying people that the coyotes had there, 4 young people and 1 father were killed. They're all in their teenage. And we see the same thing happening again today. We can have capital, goods, money, crossing the borders, but people can't cross borders. So what are we going to be doing? How do we keep going forward? We know who essential workers now because of COVID. And if you're seated at the table, it's God's table. There's room for everybody at the table. And if I'm at the table and you're at the table, we got to make sure there's room for the others who aren't there yet. It's not your or my table. And for the essential workers who pick our food as we come into the holiday season, we have to remember who in the packing sheds, who at the start didn't have PPE or whatever. If you're an essential worker out there or a young person, as Shirley Chisholm said, you bring your own chair. And together we have to keep going forward. So thanks again for the presentation. And I'm so grateful to the people who I got to know as a young person. Today, I'm looking for people like Monsignor Jack Egan, Monsignor Baroni. They call him the labor priest. Or are we telling our young people about James Reeb and Jonathan Daniels with connections to Massachusetts who were killed in the civil rights struggle? Do we talk about Sister Dolores Harrell, Sister Antonia Ebo, Caroline Messina, as I mentioned before, our own Sis Wendelin, who recently passed, the president of our S.C.N. community. But wherever we are and whoever we are, you and I have to have the backs of the younger generation, just as others had our backs or took us to this meeting or to that meeting. The first picket line that I was on, Sister Pat Dreiger took me on it. She became later head of the National Farm Worker Ministry. And We used to tease that here this white woman from suburban Milwaukee who had never met people of color till she went to college. She was taking this woman, this 2/3 woman, taking me to my first picket line. And so when we see young people out there with their clipboards, collecting for voter rights and saying climate change is about you too, we need to support them. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the river. We shall not be moved. Thank you. Keep the fight going, and we got to continue in Father Ed's name.